As you're working on your intuitive eating journey and you are trying to connect with hunger, sometimes that might not feel possible. And that can happen for a number of different reasons. Initially, it might be confusion about what is actually presenting as hunger in your physical body. You might have become very used to overriding or ignoring those signals. And so physical sensations might not communicate clearly hunger, and hunger specifically that develops and strengthens over the course of moving across the spectrum. So other reasons that you might not be able to connect with hunger could include medications that you're taking, extreme stress that you're under, not getting enough sleep, tending to too many needs of other people. And so just sort of not having enough space in your mental real estate to even consider hunger when you're sick. So there's lots of different reasons that you might not feel hunger. And there's a tool that you can use in your intuitive eating work to bridge the gap between dieting or taking any approach that prescribes what and when and how much to eat, and intuitive eating, in which you really sense into the physical body to detect and interpret and respond to the sensations that are happening. And that tool, which can be useful throughout the rest of your life, not just at the beginning of your intuitive eating path, is called structured eating. That's one way of referring to this. I don't ever really make meal plans for people, but I will work with them on creating a structured approach to eating. And what you can think of the structure as is almost like a scaffolding that's built around your intuitive eating practice to support it. And then as you gain the internal structure and you make those internal connections, the scaffolding can come down. But again, anytime you need that additional support, the scaffolding can go up instantaneously again. So structured eating can look like different things for different people. And it's really important to tailor it to your lifestyle, what works for you, tailor it to your preferences, and allow it to be flexible enough to change if circumstances change or if your needs change, whether that's between one experience of using structured eating and another, or within a period in which you're doing more structured eating and you just have different needs on different days, for example. So a classic structured approach to eating would be something like breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack. Right? 3 meals and 3 snacks. But there's really no need to follow a traditional pattern if your life is not traditional in that sense. I think probably very few of us have a traditional progression of our days. And so people who work very early in the morning, for example, might end up having 3 snacks and then lunch and then another snack and then dinner, right? Or for you, it might be breakfast, snack, 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 dinner. So the point of structured eating is that you don't go too long between meals, because when you get into that danger zone of primal hunger, it can be a lot harder to stay connected with your eating experience. And you continually try to have some balance of protein, carb, and fat so that your metabolism sort of unfolds in a predictable way across the day. You don't have a tendency, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen sometimes, but you don't have a tendency to get hungry like kind of rapidly, like out of nowhere, because you have a balance of protein, carb, and fat. But the size of the meal or snack and the timing and the location, these are all very flexible things. So for your needs right now, perhaps you can imagine, based on my schedule right now, what would be the scaffolding that would be the most supportive for me? Would it be an early breakfast, some kind of snack, lunch, a late afternoon snack, and dinner? Would it be a snack? If you get up late or you're not hungry immediately, would it be a snack and then lunch and then a snack and then dinner and then a snack? What would be supportive of you? What would be a good structure to have in mind that you could either set alarms on your phone for, or you can track in like Recovery Record, which is a free app in the App Store, or something that you write down for yourself periodically. And you get to decide, what the details are. And you get to also go through it, experiment with it for a couple of days and make adjustments based on what you see, what you learn, what works and what doesn't work. And again, this isn't just something to think about when you're at the beginning of your intuitive eating process, but it definitely does help people connect with those signals of hunger, because eating regularly, not getting too hungry, but allowing yourself to experience some hunger sort of invites out those hunger signals and allows you to contextualize them, allows you to make sense of them. But structured eating is something that you should always keep in your back pocket for when you're traveling, particularly if it's across time zones and your schedule sort of messed up. That can create a sort of internal structure within your day to get you back on some sort of way of connecting with your body. You can have it on hand during times of stress, because stress can interfere with your appetite, and it can also just make eating kind of drop down on the priority list. It can also help clarify if during stress you tend to eat more. It can also help clarify, like, let me actually contain my eating, if this is supportive to you, in specific meals and snacks as opposed to grazing over the course of the day. Not that there's anything wrong with grazing, but if you find grazing to end up being problematic, then a structured eating approach could be supportive if stress causes you to eat less or causes you to eat more. And as I mentioned before, another time that structured eating is really helpful is when you're sick, because you might not experience hunger the same way, but your body still needs that energy, still needs that protein, carbon, fat to heal. So consider structured eating to be a supported tool in your intuitive eating practice, something that you might use at the beginning in order to kind of really connect and familiarize yourself with hunger signals, or times that you just need the extra support. Once you have already had the experience of connecting with your physical signals, but you're going through a time that makes it more difficult. And this is one way in which intuitive eating is just such a flexible approach to taking care of yourself. It's not going to be a linear process. You're not going to figure this out and then everything's going to be smooth sailing. You're still going to have to think about food. You're still going to have to make some plans. You're still going to have to get food, prepare it, or put it together or whatever. And this is something that is flexible enough. This is a part of that practice that's flexible enough to move with you through all the twists and turns of your life. As your body gets older, as it gets sick, as it heals, as it gets injured, as it heals. So think of that not as cheating, not as a diet plan, not as a meal plan, anything like that, but really just another way of working with changes as they come across, as they come up in your life. So let me know what you think about this approach to intuitive eating called structured eating, and if you've used this in the past or if you're thinking about it, and if you have any questions about it. And I hope this is helpful.